All right. What is up, everybody? We are live. Not a ton to cover here today, but Connor Zilisch did show on his social media today that he was getting surgery on the affected collarbone. For those who are unaware, somehow he slipped on the window net after the win at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity Series race. Wasn't able to race in the Cup race. And the question and broke his collarbone. Luckily, that was the only thing that happened because it's a pretty nasty fall. And he will definitely get ribbed for that for quite some time here in the future. There's going to be a lot of guys poking fun because, of course, he's all right at this point. But it's going to be a while before he lives that one down, no doubt about it. But the question now remains, he's got the off weekend for the Xfinity Series. They're not racing at Richmond. Will he miss a race? Will he be able to put a plate there and race? We've seen some guys put plates there and race. Will he go and make a start? And what makes it interesting is the first race back after breaking his collarbone for him is going to be the Daytona race. Daytona, of course, known for the wrecks, known for the spectacular wrecks, highest or one of the highest speed tracks on the tour. And even if he is able to somehow get in there and come back, is that the race you want to come back to? Or third option, you come back, you make the start, get out of the race car, and immediately put somebody else in there and let them deal with it and worry about it for the rest of the race. The reason you would do that is because he is only, I think, 7 points. I think it's around 7 points between him and Justin Allgaier for the regular season championship, which has, I know it's in Cup, it's 15 bonus points. I assume it's 15 bonus points in the Xfinity Series. Forgot to look that up before I jumped on here today, so that's on me. But he is going for the regular season title, and the bonus points that go with that to hopefully or possibly win him a championship from his perspective. So do you make the start from that perspective, then park the car on? If I was him, just park it on the first lap, let the other guy make the laps up. Don't worry about it. Start the race, get the other guy in there as soon as you can, or hang out at the back or whatever. Well, it's Daytona, so I guess you could technically hang out at the back, but even if you hang out at the back, something could happen. So start and get another relief driver in there would probably be what I'm guessing, because they're probably going to try to get those points to win that regular season deal. It is against a teammate, though, so that's going to be crazy. If he does have somebody replace him, or if he does have somebody jump in the car after he starts it, who would that person be? That's another question. And what kind of situation, because you imagine with the collarbone, you're going to want to be comfortable. It's going to have to be somebody that fits in the same type of seat that he sits in, because you're going to want to keep that collarbone as comfortable as possible now that it's broken. So it's going to have to be somebody relatively around the same size. I know you got seat inserts and all that, but I don't think you really want to be playing with all that on a pit stop at Daytona. So gonna be interesting as far as that goes. As far as the NASCAR legal trial, they have been going at it for a long period of time with these back and forth, just petty in my opinion, petty pre-motion trials. And Judge Kenneth Bell, I think, has also had enough of it. He told them to stop with all the, basically, in so many words, told them to stop with all the legal wrangling. He's kind of tired of seeing it come across his desk, and he wants them to make a legitimate, concerted effort to actually talk and work with each other and stop, not necessarily frivolous, but stop with the I would say petty. I'm paraphrasing all this. This isn't exactly what Kenneth Bell said, but essentially what Kenneth Bell was getting at was, stop putting all this junk on the front of my desk. I'm tired of seeing it. So get it wrapped up. And the other thing, of course, that was the big story this weekend. Once again, people are talking about the car and SVG. He's won all the road course races. Some people are triggered by that. To me, I think you're seeing one of the best all time as far as road course racing goes. Australian Supercar is definitely one of the greatest of all times over there. You're seeing how good he is, and I don't think what car he's driving would necessarily make a difference. However, this car he is driving does have the wind diffuser on the back, and it makes it incredibly hard to pass. And when you give a guy that is head and shoulders above everybody an advantage like that, so once again, it's gone to people, upset that Shane Van Gisbergen is winning too much, which is a good problem to have. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Sr., they all suffered from that success. They won too much, and people didn't like them for that. So he now joins that list, although his is the specialty of road courses here. And it's another one of those interesting situations where, nobody complained when Dale Jr. was winning all of the restrictor plate races, right? But, SVG, not Dale Jr., winning all the road course races. People get upset about that. Nobody was complaining when Chase Elliott was winning. I think Chase Elliott won 4 in a row road course races. Nobody was complaining when Chase Elliott was doing that. It was, amazing and awesome. But Shane Van Gisbergen doing it, different story. So a little bit of difference there. But it has also gotten people talking about the car, right? It's got people talking about the car. This and that needs to be changed on the car. I think Bozy Tatarovich on X or Twitter or something put out there why this car, even on road courses, is really difficult to drive. And he showed the downforce because of what I was talking about with that rear diffuser, the air coming off. You've got 100% downforce on the car that's in the lead. The car that's behind it in the dirty air only has about 70% of downforce. He put up a nice graphic, and that's what a lot of people have been talking about with this car. If any changes get made to this car, that is definitely one that NASCAR needs to take a look at, is how the air comes off the back of this car, because it has never been as bad as it is right now if you're following another car, which makes the blocking easy, right? Because you can, obviously the counter to that is, well, don't follow directly behind the car, go, move your car over here. Well, the problem with that is they've got these rear view cameras, these rear view mirror cameras, and they intentionally block and use that air. So that is the argument, both sides on that. So a lot of people, once again, talking about the car, a lot of people upset with the car. Kyle Petty made some statements that people didn't like. I'm not really going to get into that because, who cares? It's not, I'm not here for the, this guy said that. And, I'm not all about that. I'm trying to stay away from all that type of stuff. But the internet erupted against him is the ultimate, because it seems like the vast majority of people want this car to be changed significantly. And I think a good place to start is more horsepower. And the other thing that's a good place to start is that whole underbody, especially the air diffuser where it's shooting out all that stuff that makes it so easy to block there at the end. And of course, the other big story, the Xfinity Series, Austin Hill, essentially doing similar stuff to what Connor Zilisch did, but with Austin Hill's history, he's not getting the same grace for essentially making the same move that Connor Zilisch made. So he's not getting the same grace. Turned Michael McDowell because of the history, and people just don't like Austin Hill. So that did influence the poll question. Who is the biggest villain right now? Carson Hocevar, Austin Hill, James Dennis Allen Hamlin, or drop a name in the chat if I missed one. So far, 65% are going with Austin the Thrill Hill. Welcome to the Thrill Zone. Let's see here. Jump into the chat and see what you guys want to talk about. And if we get enough names, I will do like a second poll like we did the other day. We'll do a second poll and we'll just pit the two winners against each other and see where it goes from there. Connor and Ross. Connor Zilisch, I don't know that Connor Zilisch would necessarily be considered a villain. Maybe I'm wrong there. I might throw him in there if we have enough room. Ross Chastain, I could definitely see. I could see Ross Chastain for sure. So I've written Ross down. I would have to put Joey Laguna in there. He will always be treading in villain territory since that Kansas incident with Kenseth, says John Carpenter. So we'll put I got Logano on there as well. Bruce Garvey saying the biggest villain are the people that design. I like where you're going with that, Bruce Garvey. The people that designed this car. There we go. So that might be you might have struck the winner right there, Bruce Garvey. We'll see. So we got 3 right now. Hocevar, what's up in between the lanes? Hocevar has fans that think he does no wrong, where I feel like it's more difficult to find fans that will take up for Hill, says Dirty Def. I will take up for Hill on this particular occasion. The one before that, I think he clearly wrecked the guy on purpose, but he's sticking to his gun saying that he didn't do it on purpose, which is perfect villain speak. Like, I didn't do it on purpose, guys. Like, I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like a good villain. I was an Earnhardt fan for a long time. Earnhardt would do the same thing. I reckon, I was trying to get him a little bit loose or something like that. Earnhardt had the same energy in a way, a lot more successful. I'm just comparing the reactions to wrecking people. But yeah. I think a good villain is good for the sport. I think part of the reason the sport suffered during the Jimmy Johnson era is he was so corporate and polished and clean. Whereas your other guys that won 7 championships and a bunch of races like Earnhardt and Richard Petty was beloved because he was Richard Petty. He was carrying on the family legacy, what his dad built. You know, you had the whole backstory there. He was the king. He was a good ambassador for the sport. He played the good guy. He was sort of the Hulk Hogan good guy role, the Hulk Hogan character good guy role, if that makes any sense. Whereas Dale Sr. was more like the Ric Flair, I'm gonna go out here and race dirty. I'm going to do anything I can to win. Dale Earnhardt, he let all the other guys be the good guy, and he put on the even changing the colors to black. Like, originally the Goodwrench 3 was supposed to be blue and yellow. He changed the colors of it to black and silver. And red. He sort of wanted that Darth Vader look. He embraced the villain role. He embraced the bad guy role, and that grew the sport because it was a direct contrast to Richard Petty. And he had built in where Senior had built in supportive fan base. He had that blue collar worker because he was a blue collar guy. He resonated with those guys. And Carson Hocevar, to your point, has resonated with his fans. For some reason, I guess Austin Hill is not, in your opinion, resonating with his fans. So they're not taking up for him the same way. But that is what built the sport. So I do like to see a good villain from time to time. Denny Hamlin has tried to put that villain cape on, and I think at times he's been very successful with it. But every time that Denny Hamlin apologizes for something or says that it's really getting to him, it sort of takes it away. You never really saw Earnhardt. He might have felt it, but he never vocalized it. So I would like to see if Denny Hamlin's going to be the villain, I'd like to see him fully embrace it and not apologize, just go full villain. Joey Logano, whichever villain, quote unquote, driver you want to go with there. But yeah, that's my thoughts as far as that goes. Hopefully I answered your question. I forgot what you asked. What's up, wise guy? 88 was messing with the 12 and the 24. Laughing my butt off, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, he was. So that actually, what SVG was doing sort of harkened back to a long time ago. Tim Richmond and Dale Sr. would do this a lot too. Like, they would fall back and race each other for a little while, even though one guy had a better car than the other one, just because they knew it would be fun racing each other. So they would be messing with each other depending on who had the faster car that week. And then they would take off and go. And that was a big thing in the 80s. They would put on a show for the fans. Even if one of them knew they had a car that could stink it up, they would go back there and race with the guy in second for a little while before they took off and actually won the race. And you see it sometimes in late model, not as much anymore as you used to with the Aero and all that. But back in the day, before Aero was such a big understood thing, you would see guys actually race with each other a little bit. So that's kind of a throwback what SVG was doing there, just kind of racing with him until he got out front. And once he got out front, he said, "All right, see you later, boys," and he took off. So that was sort of a throwback. So kind of cool that he did that, but also got to be frustrating. Got to be frustrating if you're the 12 or the 24 or the 20 there, even the 20 there at the end. Josh Benton, what's up, my friend? Good to see you on here. Polar Bear Pete Alonso, 253 career home runs as a Met, most all time. So there you go. Somebody has stayed with the Mets long enough to get 253 home runs. Pretty impressive stuff. What could have been if Darryl Strawberry had stayed there his entire career and stayed on the straight and narrow as well. Thoughts and prayers to the Brewer family, says Sir Wood Rooster. So yeah, for sure. Crazy tragic incidents at Bowman Gray. He had a heart attack in the car. He hit the wall. And he left us, if you're not familiar with that particular story. So thoughts and prayers go out to his family. Unfortunate situation for sure. So, and he was a track champion there as well. So he was a really good driver. So thank you for bringing that up. I'd actually not put that in the notes, but I appreciate you because I meant to put it in the notes. I forgot to write it down here. Thank you, Sir Wood Rooster. Yeah. So shout outs to the Brewer, not shout out, but thoughts and prayers to the Brewer family. For sure. Howdy, Austin. Howdy, Austin Hill has no friends and no fans except his family and RC. They love him, says Shah. I like Austin Hill. I don't have a problem with Austin Hill. So I'm team Austin Hill. But at the end of the day, I think villains are good for the sport, and I'm glad that he didn't apologize because that's going to help build the Xfinity series. You might not know who you pull for in the Xfinity series, but I bet you know who you pull against. And that's why I like Austin Hill. He is not changing who he is. I'm on probation. I don't give two craps. I'm not going to change how I'm driving. And whether you like it or not, I do respect the fact that he is going to drive how he drives, and he's not going to let anything affect that. I respect the tenacity there. I don't necessarily like that he's wrecking people, but I do respect that he's not going to change the way he drives. He's going to stay maximum aggressive all the time, and he's a pretty good wheelman too. So I like Austin Hill. Let's see. Shah with the smiley face. How many people did I just upset saying I like Austin Hill? Big surprise. The RCR guy likes Austin Hill. Please pray for him to get better soon. Speedy recovery. 316 says. Talking about Connor Zilisch there for sure. Hopefully he does get well soon. Do you think Spire will acquire Corey Heim? So there is a rumor. There's a couple of rumors out there right now. So let's talk about both of those real quick because I should have mentioned them at the top, but I forgot. There is a rumor that Spire is wanting Corey Heim to drive the 7 car. If you're unaware, there's a rumor also. Both of these are rumors, by the way. There's a rumor that Justin Haley's on the hot seat. And the other rumor now is that they want to replace him with Corey Heim. Both of those rumors. And the third part of that rumor is it's putting pressure on Toyota because Toyota wants to keep Corey Heim, but they don't have a place to put him. And Legacy, even though they're working to get a charter, they seem to be more interested in Jesse Love. Once again, another rumor. So I hope everybody's keeping up with all the rumors now. But that is the story as far as the rumors go. The other rumor that is out there as far as Xfinity and trucks and all that good stuff is that Penske might be restarting the Xfinity Series team, and they're looking at getting Carson Voppel from Junior Motorsports. So that is the other rumor out there as to what could be happening as far as that stuff goes. Once again, all of that stuff rumors, just rumors that are out there. I have no idea whether they're true or not, but you do hear them quite a lot. So maybe one or two of them might be true. You just never know. Let's see. One wise guy saying UFC and NASCAR both got $7 billion over 7 years. Who got the better broadcast deal in your opinion? Did the fans get a good deal either way? I would say $7 billion is good money. So good money. So hopefully NASCAR can grow the sport with that $7 billion. I'm going to say UFC got the better deal though, because you can see UFC if you just have the Paramount. If you want to watch every single UFC thing and you've got the Paramount app or whatever it is, you can watch all of that. So I would say UFC got the better deal there for their fans. John Carpenter saying Bruce Garvey may have the true winner with the people behind designing the next gen car. So I tell you what, we'll let this poll go for a little bit longer. Right now, a nice 69% for Austin Hill. Who is going to face Austin Hill in the second poll? I'll leave it up for a couple more minutes here, and I'll put up the other poll. Let's see here. Bruce Garvey may have. Oh, I just read that one. Is it easier for the UFC fans to view their product? In my opinion, yeah, I'm with you. I think it is easier for the UFC fans. So yeah, I think they got the better end of the deal. But $7 billion is $7 billion. Let's see. Would be curious to see what the legal bills are for the parties involved in this lawsuit. It hasn't even went to trial yet. Lawyers are the big winners, regardless as their diff. I think so too. I think so 100%. One wise guy giving a shout out to Rosie. Rosie saying it's our favorite troll. Eric is at it again. Indeed, does look like the work of Mr. Eric. Let's see. Chester, Eric. Let's see. I see Colleague has that DraftKings sponsor now. They left 2311, says OJ and Toothpaste. For sure. That was interesting. So DraftKings was on the 23 for a long period of time, and now it is over at Colleague. And you got to think that Ty Norris, of course, is the guy over there running the business side of Colleague right now. You got to think that is something that Ty Norris got done. He has gotten a lot of sponsors over there. I saw where AJ Allmendinger got another sponsor here that was on somebody else's car as well. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, you're seeing some bigger sponsors starting to show up over there at Colleague. And not for nothing, the performance over there at Colleague is night and day from what it was last year. Now, don't get me wrong, they're not where they want to be, but they have certainly improved from this year to last year. So you're definitely seeing a big turnaround. And I think a lot of that has to be credited to Matt Colleague going out there and signing Ty Norris. And of course, Ty Norris, a proven commodity in making teams run efficiently and getting sponsorship and improving performance overall wherever he has been. Let's see. Have Pancakes, aka Dale Earnhardt Jr., be the relief driver for Connor. LOL, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, maybe Junior steps in. I don't know. I don't think you'll ever see Junior race again at Daytona, but that's just what I'm thinking about it. Lose the rear view camera, says Shaw. No speedometer or fuel gauge, but you can have a rear view camera, says Shaw. I still think the rear diffuser is the bigger issue. Baron Von Weebs, what's up, my man? Good to see you on here. Taller groove tires for the short tracks for starters. I'm with you on the tires. They're way too wide. So putting grooves in them, 100%. And he's been, for a shout out to Baron, he's been on the groove tire thing well before anybody else was on top of it. So yeah, no doubt about it. The tires, they definitely need grooves in them to lessen up the grip because they are way too wide. I agree with you on that 100%. As always. Let's see here. Where was I at? Lost my spot. Rosie playing whack-a-mole tonight, says Wise Guy. On top of the diffuser and add more horsepower, you can cast smaller tires to that list, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, either smaller tires or like Baron was saying, put the grooves in them for sure. Let's see. Yeah, rear diffusers definitely got to go 100%. Did Earnhardt ever wreck half the field? Says Shaw. I think if you go and look at some of his earlier races, probably. I'm going to say probably. Rosie saying Eric's spazzing real bad. Shaw saying just curious. I think if you look at early on in Earnhardt's career, he certainly was. Everybody remembers the black number 3. I think 100% you need to take a look at his earlier career when he was driving the yellow and blue cars, either yellow and petty blue or yellow and Wrangler blue. He was getting active. He was getting active out there. That bumper was rated E for everyone. They could all get it. So yeah, I don't know if he wrecked half the field, but he wrecked more than a few. I tell you what, Jeff Bodine at one point had enough of it. You can look up him versus Jeff Bodine. They were in a demolition derby while everybody else was trying to race. So yeah, for sure. I would say young Earnhardt, and I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought it up. Everybody remembers Dale Earnhardt as this beloved figure. Everybody loved Dale Earnhardt Sr. That is an absolute rose-colored glasses view of the world that is just not accurate. Because I can tell you as an Earnhardt fan, growing up an Earnhardt fan, people absolutely freaking hated Dale Earnhardt Sr. unless you were a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. If you were a Bill Elliott fan, you hated him. If you were a Jeff Gordon fan, you hated him. If you were a Terry Labonte fan, you hated him. Like, go down the list. Go down the list of other drivers, with the exception of maybe Neil Bonnet fans. Every other single fan base hated Dale Earnhardt Sr. Even if you were just a Ford guy or whatever, like, you hated Dale Earnhardt Sr. It wasn't until after he passed. And it was, I was talking with someone about this last night. It wasn't until after he passed that everybody was like, oh, I missed that guy. I didn't like him, but I had so much respect for him. That's when there was this big shift to everybody liked Dale Earnhardt Sr. But before that, he was literally the most hated driver. He got just as many boos as he got cheers. Now, don't get me wrong. He had a huge fan base, but he had an equally loud base of detractors. As far as reception from the stands, it was more akin to what Kyle Busch had when he was driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle Busch gets more cheers than anything now that he drives for RCR. But when he drove for Joe Gibbs Racing, you would hear like half the fans would boo and half the fans would cheer when Kyle Busch walked out. That's exactly what it was like when Dale Earnhardt Sr. walked out. So this whole Dale Earnhardt was beloved and everybody liked him back in the day. That's a false narrative. That's rose-colored glasses. The vast majority of fans hated Dale Earnhardt Sr. until he passed away. Then everybody was like, I respected him. He was the man, even though he wasn't my favorite driver. You saw everything. It changed like that. and it was so wild when it happened like that, because I was an Earnhardt fan, and I was so used to people giving him the middle finger, talking junk to me for wearing my 3 gear, and then all of a sudden, man, I didn't pull for your guy, but I did respect him, and like they went from the absolute biggest haters to like, man, I really respected that guy. I didn't pull for him, but I respected what he did, and all. It was really just an interesting thing. I've gone off on a long tangent, but that's literally like how it was. It was super crazy the way that it flipped on one day. It flipped it around like that. It was literally like you woke up in one universe, and the next day you were in another universe. It was literally that quick. All right, let me get off that. Let's see. I'm with you, BB. I don't think Hill did it on purpose, just racing, but just coming off suspension wasn't a good look. What else is there? Yeah, 100%. Like that's part of it. I don't think he did it on purpose, but because of his history, people are going to be like, of course he did it on purpose. And coming right off suspension, yeah, it was poor timing. 100%, 100%. Let's see. One wise guy, sub mode only. It is sub mode only. That's the dedication of Chester over there. Let's see. That's crazy. Is Dale Earnhardt didn't want to be in Days of Thunder in the Rowdy Burns role because he didn't want to play the bad guy. Says Dirty Death. That is one story. The other story I've heard is that he wanted to be in the movie, but he had a prior obligation. I can't remember what episode of the Dale Jr. Download Dale Jr. talked about that, but I think it was one of the older ones, but I think Dale Jr., if I'm remembering correctly, I think he talked about that. That was why he didn't do it. Let me change this poll question out here before I forget. Let's see here. All right, who do we write down here? Jolo. What was the other one? Rostifer. Somebody said Connor. I don't think Connor. I don't think he is up there yet, but I'll put him up there because somebody said that. And I'll put next gen designer, creator. All right, there we go. Austin Hill obviously won the other poll, just in case you were wondering. Where was I at, y'all? Let's see. Gibbs has to be a villain. Nachos, where were you at, my man? I needed you. Instead of Connor, put in Ty Gibbs. I feel like Ty Gibbs is the option there. So for the Connor votes, that's going to be a Ty Gibbs vote. Good call there, Nachos. I needed you earlier there, my friends. Let's see here. Let's see. OJ saying, oops, one wise guy, sorry guys, pressed the wrong button. More horsepower, narrower tires, smaller rim for sidewall, soft as a brie cheese tire, loose, glues the underbody, and nose down and ass up. Says Shy. Indeed. I think all of those are good things. Nose up would actually be more helpful as well. Let's see here. OJ saying, thank you, Rosie. Gibbs has to be a villain. I agree. So the Connor vote is also a vote for Gibbs because I don't think anybody's actually going to vote for Connor there. I do the same in John Carpenter saying I do the same in iRacing. If I'm dominating, I will fall back and race with second place. If they get an ego about it, I just pull the biggest lead I can. Says John. There you go. Make it look good for the fans. And also, if you stay back there closer to the second place car, sometimes you get through tech a lot easier in real life too. So that's that might have been part of it as well. You don't want to stink up the show if they think they're close to you. you might as well let them think they're close to you, even though you know that you can dig down there and get more anytime you want to. Not a villain anymore, but Rowdy Bush says in between the lanes. Yeah, Rowdy. I don't feel like he's a villain anymore. But if this was a couple years ago, definitely Rowdy would have to be on that list. Lovey, what's up, my man? Good to see you on here, Kevin Bernheimer. Kevin Bernheimer. I'm going to try to say that name the right way. I'm just going to go Kevin. Saw that happen at Toledo Speedway one night, says Kevin. Bumping and banging and sometimes getting into someone and spinning. They sell tickets fast. Facts, says Massey Ferguson. Indeed. Enzo, what's up, my friend? Always good to see you on here, my dude. Austin Hill will never change. Indeed. And I think that's a good thing. I think you need somebody to pull for, but you definitely need somebody to pull against. Batman is an interesting character. The Joker sells more comics. If you look at every Batman movie that has ever come out, the ones with Batman and the Joker are the better attended, better selling, better written. They are the better movies because you have that interesting character to juxtapose against Batman in those situations. So you definitely need a good villain, but it has to be like a real natural villain. And I'm not saying Austin Hill's a villain. I'm just saying the way he comes off to people, they're his villain. So I want to be super clear about all this. Let's see. Lovey saying, what's up to Wise Guy? I like Austin Hill as well. I like all the drivers anyway. That's where I'm at. I like all the drivers as well. I'm with you on that one. In between the lanes, Wise Guy saying, what's up to Lovey? Difference between Earnhardt and Hill. Dale Sr. made rivalries to sell merch and sell money. Hill is just making people mad, says Shaw. Yeah, and the other thing, Earnhardt won championships. Earnhardt won a ton of races. Like that was the other factor to it. You have to be winning all the time, and you have to be constantly in the championship hunt. You can't just be, and Austin Hill in the Xfinity Series is, but he still needs to get that Xfinity Series title. But you gotta sort of be in that hunt. That is like Denny Hamlin is a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt in my mind. But if Denny Hamlin had a championship, he would be so much better as a villain because he would have that championship. Because the one thing people knock him for unfairly, that they would never knock Mark Martin, but they'll do it immediately to Denny Hamlin because they don't pull for him the way they pulled for Mark Martin. He doesn't have a championship, blah, 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 blah. They always like to pull that out of the hat. So if Denny Hamlin had a championship, that would elevate his villainy role to the level of where I think some people see Joey Logano as their villain to their favorite driver. Let's see. If I were Corey Haim, I'd want to leave and go to Spire, says OJ and Toothpaste. I would too, dude. Corey Haim is definitely ready for the Cup Series. Without a question in my mind, Corey Haim is him and Connor Zilisch are the two most ready drivers to go to the next level right now. 100%. 100%. I would have no putting either one of those guys in a Cup car right now. If the 7 is as cursed as it seems, it would be an early in for Heim time, says John Carpenter. That is a fair point as well. The 7 car just seems to be the bad car over there of the 3. Nothing has ever come of anybody that sat in the 7 car. That is fair. That is a fair statement as well. Heim should be in that 35 car, but money talks, says OJ and Toothpaste. Indeed. That is part of the game. It is a business. It is not a charity. They don't just put whoever they want to talent-wise anymore in a race car. Where Austin Hill is from is only about an hour from me, and my first cousin was his 6th grade teacher, so I do pull for him. But I completely understand the blowback he gets, says Dirty Duff. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I understand why people don't like him, but I like him because I think he's good for the sport. You got to have good guys and bad guys. You can't have everybody. I mean, just think about the Jimmy Johnson era. There was no real villain in the Jimmy Johnson era because Denny Hamlin didn't start getting booed until he wrecked Chase Elliott. Let's be honest. Let's just be real about it. So there was no real great villains during the Jimmy Johnson era, and that's part of the reason Jimmy Johnson needed that one true like villain to his winning championships. And he was close with Kyle Busch, but they never were peaking at the same time. Kyle Busch's peak sort of came after Jimmy Johnson's had started to fall off a little bit, in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah, Heim should definitely be in the 35, says Just Benton. Yeah, I think skill wise, 100%, and that's no. I think Riley Herbst works really hard at his craft, but I think for sure talent wise, 100%. I think Corey Heim's the way better driver. Toyota has nowhere to put him. While I'm glaring at John Hunter Nemechek, John Nemechek, for those on the channel now. I'm not saying all those words. We're trying to save some voice. So it's just John Nemechek from now on. Till he wins a race, it's John Nemechek. Laughing my butt off at one wise guy. Heim don't need luck. He is actually good, says Shaw. So there you go. Shaw doesn't believe in luck. He believes in Corey Heim. Are you hearing anything about Rodney Childers? Says Tony Williams. I haven't heard anything about Rodney Childers, but I assume that he is probably, I think he was really close to signing with RCR. So if he comes back to a team, I'm thinking RCR, but that I haven't heard anything. I think that was the closest team he was to signing with before Aspire threw the money at him. That being said, if let's say if a Corey Heim moves up, does he want to work with Corey Heim, or would he want to work with a veteran? If he wants to work with a veteran, I see it being a good pickup for RCR. So any of those situations could work. Legacy, if they get Jesse Love, maybe he wants to work with Jesse Love. So it's a lot of moving pieces out there, and we're not going to know till we know what's happening with the Rick Ware situation. So anything could happen. And if the Haas rumors are true that they're linking up with Legacy, maybe that's where the Legacy charter comes from, even if they don't win the lawsuit with Rick Ware Racing. So all kinds of stuff is floating out there. So I don't know, but I haven't heard anything definitively as far as rumors go about Rodney Childers. But he is definitely going to be a big pickup, whoever gets him. How about the performance of Cody Ware this past weekend, says Sir Wood Rooster? I didn't pay any attention to it, but I'll tell you what, his car looked really good. I like the Evil Knievel car. Love you saying what's up to OJ. BB, I agree with you on Hill's talent, but I worry about that his actions and attitude may cost him sponsors and advancement. Yeah, that's certainly a risk you take in this era. Will sponsors, if you wreck and get the bad PR, will sponsors shy away from you, or will you be limited to sponsors that like controversy? There's all kinds of things you have to worry about as far as that goes. Certainly, Bruce Garvey, I agree. Do you hear Tommy Baldwin saying SVG isn't all that talented on door bumper clear? If Tommy Baldwin's saying that, I haven't seen him say that, but if he's saying that, he's 100% wrong. Okay. So he's being, and when they do stuff like that, they know they're wrong, and they're literally doing it for clicks and likes. They're doing it for show clips because they know that that's bullshit. And they say bullshit statements like that because they're like, oh yeah, this will get clipped and people will look at the short. Like a lot of that stuff, it's literally planned out, in my opinion, and they know it's bullshit. He knows it's bullshit. He knows SVG is one of the most talented drivers in the world, point blank, period. And he doesn't really believe that he's not that talented. He is not that stupid, despite how he looks on TV. OJ and Two-Face. Hello, Barkley says, OJ, they should get rid of the mirrors, says one wise guy. They should get rid of SMT data shared throughout the team, says OJ. I agree with that. The SMT data is bullshit. They should definitely get rid of that 100%. I feel like AJ in the 16 car has been better, but where in the in-season tournament ringer, Ty Dillon has had moments, but he's still behind Hemrick, was last year in points, says Dirty Def. For sure. But they've had more raw speed. They haven't had the finishes. Look, Ty Dillon has had 3 or 4 races where he could have had a top 10 and something crazy happened. I'm talking about raw speed, but yeah, if you want to go points wise, Hemrick, I guess, did finish in front of him last year for sure. But some of it is execution. Like he ran out of gas at Talladega. Like he's had some good finishes taken away over some miscalculations and stuff like that. Whereas I feel like Hemrick was maximizing a bad car, if that makes any sense, if you're following what I'm saying. They've had more raw speed, I guess is kind of what I'm trying to get at with their overall performance. Baron Von Weave saying that. But Kyle Petty said this racing is amazing and we should all embrace it, says OJ and Toothpaste. Kyle Petty's wrong about that. And he basically in so much tweeted out his version of a soft apology today, saying that the old teams, it was because the teams were finding performance, whereas now they basically have to cheat to get performance or whatever. He tweeted out something to that effect. So he did step back from his statements a little bit. Do you think Zilisch will bounce back and win the championship? Says Dr. House MD. I think he's got yes, I do think he'll bounce back. I think he's got a really good chance at winning the championship for sure, but it's such a crazy system that it's really hard to pick a winner. But yeah, I do think he will. I think he'll make the Final Four. I'll put it that way. I think he makes the Final Four. John Carpenter saying Kyle Petty needs to shut up. He doesn't have an opinion that isn't bought and paid for, says John Carpenter, which is wild because for the longest time, Kyle Petty was not bought and paid for. So to see him essentially become a NASCAR shill because he's on the NASCAR network now or whatever is crazy, crazy work. But it is what it is. He does work for NASCAR now. He's got the post-race podcast over there on the NASCAR YouTube channel. So it is what it is. Earnhardt took out a ton of cars at Martinsville on lap 2 in 1980, Richard Petty being one of those, and he was pissed, says Dirty Death. So there you go. There's your answer. I knew a little bit before my time, but there you go. He did take out like close to half the field at one point. I knew early on in his career he was reckless. He was super reckless early on in his career, 100%. If they had this kind of spec car racing back in the day, his dad never gets near his 199 wins, and Kyle doesn't have a career handed to him, says John Carpenter. So there you go. John Carpenter, not having it. He's not having it with Kyle Petty's comments here today. No doubt about it. BB, I hated Dale Earnhardt. I watched races to pull for my driver, Gant and Gordon, and pull against Dale Earnhardt and didn't appreciate him until years after he passed. So there you go. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of people didn't like him until he was gone. And then they realized, like, I wasn't trying to come off harshly. I think it was just a lot of people realized the moment he was gone, they realized, you know what? I did like that guy. I just didn't realize it because I was so busy pulling for my guy, and I didn't like him because he was running into my guy. So, yeah. But it for me at that time, being super young when it happened, it was so crazy that to just wake up in another universe where everybody's like, I really like that guy. I was like, what? You called him a son of a bitch last week, but now you like him? It was so crazy. It was so crazy. It was so crazy. But that is definitely what happened. Definitely what happened. Jeff Gordon dominated Dale Sr., says Brian Carston. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Gordon was in his 20s. Dale Sr. was in his 40s, and Jeff Gordon was sitting in Hendrick equipment. So yes, he did dominate him, and nothing against Jeff Gordon, but it was not apples to apples. It was the rise of Jeff Gordon, and it was the latter years of Dale Sr. So for sure, but Jeff Gordon was that guy. And Jeff Gordon, it was crazy that it just didn't seem like he got the same run that Earnhardt got, like the same length of time, because Jimmy Johnson, it was like the rise of Jimmy Johnson. It seemed like, I don't know, like right when Gordon was peaking was the rise of Jimmy Johnson as well. So it was crazy. It was crazy. But I will say, because I was talking about the Earnhardt thing, I hated Jeff Gordon. And I like, as I got older, I was like, man, I really should have appreciated what Jeff Gordon was doing instead of being just such a hater and pulling against him, because what Jeff Gordon did was nothing short of amazing. He would have 6 or 7 championships under the Latford system. And you know, ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas or whatever. But under the Latford system, he would have 6 or 7 championships. So I put Jeff Gordon right there with Richard Petty, with Jimmy Johnson, and with Dale Earnhardt on that Mount Rushmore of at least greatest drivers I've seen in my lifetime. Now, obviously, there's some guys that I never saw drive who were certainly amazing drivers, Cale Yarborough being one of them. I saw sort of the limited starts at the very end of Cale Yarborough's career, but Cale Yarborough is one I would have loved it if I could have seen like his whole career, because I feel like he's a guy that's super underrated that people don't talk about enough. But Cale Yarborough should definitely be in that conversation with your Richard Petty's and David Pearson's. David Pearson's actually another one I would put with Cale Yarborough. It doesn't get talked about enough because we always talk about Petty and Jeff Gordon, Dale Sr., and Jimmy Johnson, but we definitely don't talk enough about Cale Yarborough, David Pearson, and guys like that who were literally just as good, but they ran partial schedules because it was before the championship was the thing that it became. It just wasn't, it's hard to explain, but it just wasn't that big a deal, the championship, when it first came out, as crazy as that seems. Let's see. Taller tires gives you a U-back, one all-weather tire, not rainbow slicks, saving money, easy test, says Barron. There you go. Barron's got it all figured out on the tire deal. He is a tire man. I feel like he's a tire man somewhere. He's working on modifieds, getting a 10th for every inch of grip that he can find. Let's what is it? 5 pounds a bite per quarter inch or something. I don't know. Somebody was telling me something crazy one time with the modified deal. Anyway, moving right along. There was a reason he never got NASCAR's most popular driver. Bill Elliott fans cared more about the award, but Earnhardt was most known, but not the most popular with fans of the sport. 100%. Bill Elliott still beloved to this day. 100%. There was let's see, as a Terry Labonte fan, I hated Dale, says John Carpenter. Yeah, for sure. Terry Labonte fans, I totally understand. He took one Bristol win away from you, and close to was taking 2 Bristol wins away from you. I know if I was a Neil Bonnet fan and still didn't like Dale, says I like dislike. There you go. Like dislike, even as a Neil Bonnet fan, I still did not like Dale Sr. Funny when Dale Sr., and I'll tell you another one, Ernie Irvan in that era was a pretty good villain. For a short time too, till he cleaned up his act. Funny when Dale Sr., even Jeff Gordon started to struggle for wins, is when the fans started to cheer for them. Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point. And Kyle Busch is going through that right now. I feel like. BB, how many crew chiefs does Ty Gibbs burn through? Oh yeah, so good call. Ty Gibbs is going to crew chief himself, says Shaw. Good call, Bruce and Shaw. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, Ty Gibbs getting chippy on the radio with the crew chief. That was super interesting, and the crew chief giving it back to him. Like neither one of them was backing down. That's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. If the next gen car creator doesn't win this poll by a landslide, we have issues, says Joseph Wooten. 55% right now for the next gen car creator. So not as big a lead as you would hope. The Connor Zilisch vote is a vote for Ty Gibbs also, by the way. Just thought I would mention that. Do you think Catherine Legg is a villain, says Sir Wood Rooster? She made Kevin Harvick eat his words. Kevin Harvick had some things to say about her, but then Kevin Harvick said, you know what? I'm going to give credit where credit's due. He was a little too harsh on Miss Catherine Legg at first. And when she got those good finishes in subpar equipment, I will add that relative, nothing against BJ McLeod and them, but it's definitely not Hendrick equipment. Let's keep it real. At least Kevin Harvick did admit, you know what? I will eat my words. She deserves to be there, essentially. So good for Kevin Harvick on backtracking and giving credit where credit's due. I've seen quite a few people that are still KFB detractors saying he is washed, says John Carpenter. Yeah, so the people that still don't like KFB, they're the first ones that are like, oh, he's washed. He ain't got nothing left. We'll see. He's definitely going through a slump right now. But what I'll say to that is, if you look at Denny Hamlin's career, Denny Hamlin has had parts of his career where he has looked unbeatable. He has had parts of his career where he only won a race or two here or there. And now in the later stage of his career, he has had a resurgence and a renaissance, and he is back to being a world-class guy. But if you look at Denny Hamlin's wins over the years, he had some lean years in there too. And I use him as an example because he's raced for a long time like Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch never had any of those lean years, really. Kyle Busch is having a few lean years, but he does still have time to have that resurgence. And I do think before he retires, we will see a Kyle Busch resurgence where he gets back into victory lane for 2 or 3 wins in a season at some point, whether it's with RCR or whoever, because a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to leave RCR. That's another rumor that's out there, but I haven't seen where that's substantiated either. But since we're talking about rumors today, we might as well throw them all out there, huh? Why not? Let's see. NASCAR fans need to realize that GM, Ford, and TRD wanted this sports car chassis, says Sinister Grin. So there you go. That's part of it too. That's part of the deal. And once again, NASCAR not listening to the fans, NASCAR listening to the manufacturers and the TV partners is sort of got NASCAR where it's at with the fans right now, and they're sitting on a powder keg, and something's gonna happen. Batman, Joker, awesome. I just watched Joker 2, worst movie ever. It was bad. I tried to warn everybody about that one. Do not waste your time. Just a side note, says Shaw. Spider-Man has the best rogues gallery. Batman is pretty stacked in Gotham, but the Joker is the one that gets the clicks, says John Carpenter. Facts, for sure. I've been watching V8 supercars a lot lately. Those cars sound like Gen 4 is on a flyby, says Lovey Barkley. Okay, sorry, it was my service, says Dirty Diff. Let's see. I agree that Zilli and Heim are the most cup ready, but as we all know, money is a bigger driving factor than talent is, says John Carpenter. Facts. That's facts. Let's see. Spire could just retire the 7 and buy a new number. Could be worth it. Says Shah. So the reason they run the 7 is I think they were running out of the Alan Kowicki shop. So that's why they run the 7. It's sort of a tribute to Alan Kowicki. So I don't think they'll get rid of the 7. But I see where you're going with that there. I thought Childers was working in the Cars Tour right now, says John Carpenter. Yeah, he's working with Kevin Harvick's team. So that's what he's doing right now. But he's definitely going back to the, in my opinion, he's definitely going back to the Cup season, series next season, just because there's going to be way more money in the Cup Series than there is in the Cars Tour. I would imagine. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know. I don't know what Kevin Harvick's operation's doing over there, but I would say the Cup Series pays more money than working for Kevin Harvick's late model team. Nobody's talking about this, but Herbst and SVG's performance compared at ovals this year, I feel like SVG has been better, says Dirty Def. Hey, there you go. I haven't looked at it, but I'll have to take a look at it. Drop it in the, if you've got a link to that where you saw it anywhere, drop it in the Discord. I'll take a peek at it. I think Rodney Childers is working for KHI right now. But next year, 100%, he'll, in my opinion, he'll be back in the Cup Series because money talks. Jimmy Spencer was the villain back in the day. He stirred the pot a lot. Well, the driver, says Mark63. That's a good point. Great point for sure. The only problem with Jimmy Spencer is, like I'm saying, he wasn't winning enough races and he wasn't competing for the championship enough to really truly be a villain. He's more like a Starscream from Transformers, and everybody under 35 is like, what the hell is he talking about? Where he's just like an annoying villain, but he doesn't ever win. So like he's just sort of super annoying. 2 years, time flies. I love my NASCAR friends. Appreciate you sticking with us here, Bruce. And 28 months here for Shy. It sure does. So fist bump to both of you guys. Much appreciated. Thanks for your support, Bruce and Shy, says Rosie. 100%, says Bruce Reed. Brian Karsten, Tommy Baldwin is the new Brett Griffin on Door Bumper Clears roster. It's like he's paid to have bad takes for engagement farming. Thank you, John Carpenter. That's exactly what it is. It's engagement farming. He doesn't believe half of what he's saying. 100%. OBB just said the same thing, says John Carpenter. Yep, there you go. 100% agree with you, man. It's all for show. It's part of the business. Saying controversial stuff and getting that you don't believe, like if you believe it, go ahead and say it. But like saying controversial stuff just to get a catchy like quote or whatever, there's a lot of that goes on in the world of YouTube. And let's just keep it real. Even though they don't want to acknowledge it, it happens in the regular mainstream media as well. So, but you know, social media and YouTubers, we get shamed for it, and then real media, they don't catch any strays for it, even though they do the exact same thing. And it's all the TMZ effect. TMZ did all that. What's up, BB and everyone? I heard someone say earlier that Childress could become crew chief for Zilisch. Yeah, he could. So we'll see what happens going forwards. Trackhouse would be a good fit as well. All kinds of rumors out there right now. Bruce Reed saying thanks. I didn't hear Tommy say he was talented. He was saying he's talented, but the number of reps is the biggest difference on road courses over the field. Says Dirty Def. Hey, so there you go. Yes, take away SMT, says Dirty Def. Congratulations to Shah for getting the first overall on Fantasy Sunday. Shout out to him, says one wise guy. SMT should be available for your team only if you have a deal like JGR 2311 and they want to share. That is up to them as part of that technical alliance, says John Carpenter. So there you go. Oh, congratulations to Bruce's daughter. She is getting married, says one wise guy. I missed that one somehow. Okay, who is that one person that thinks Connor Zilisch is a villain? Says Sha. Those are votes also for Ty Gibbs. So Ty Gibbs is the Connor Zilisch vote as well. Let's see. Yes, I think Colleague has faster cars this season. So really, more credit to Hemrick last season for what? Yeah, 100%, 100%. Hemrick was working with what he was given, 100%, like he has his whole career. Unfortunately, have you ever heard of Elko Speedway in Minnesota? I have heard of Elko Speedway in Minnesota, and they have one guy up there that runs like every race in that area, and his last name starts with a G or something, I want to say, and he's always up there for the national championship, always close to winning it every year. I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but yeah, 100%. I have heard of the Speedway. Let's see. One wise guy. Well, thank you, and bless your pointed head. I can't stop drinking since celebrating when you can, says Sha. Would love to see Trackhouse win the championship this year. Just sick of the big teams always winning. For sure. It is getting old to see just Hendrick and Penske and Joe Gibbs Racing win championships. But that's part of the fun. When an up and comer team can pull a championship win off, they're awesome. The Patriots, when they won their first Super Bowl, everybody's like, heck yeah, the Patriots won. By the time the Patriots had won their sixth Super Bowl, people were like, the Patriots suck, man. All they do is win. So it's the natural cycle of things. Kyle Petty isn't paid for. On Fast Talk last week, he said that TNT coverage has been horrible. He was like, I used to work there, so I was pulling for them, but it was awful, says Dirty Death. There you go. One wise guy, I'm sure your head is nice and round. Just not. I've just been drinking constantly. Says Shaw. Drink responsibly. Don't be like Shaw. Well, your head is okay. All right, Shaw. Shaw's in his cups. BB, I grew up watching Jeff Bodine in the modifieds in the Northeast. I hated Earnhardt, says Bruce Garvey, for sure. If you were a Bodine man, I'm pretty sure the Bodine people still didn't like Dale Sr. Kyle Petty did have 8 wins in Cup, says Brian Carson. He did. He had the first half of his career was very solid, all the way up through the Hot Wheels car. Kyle Petty was a solid race car driver, usually was in the top 10 or 12 in points. Jeff Gordon is a 7-time champion under the old point system. Okay, so it is 7 times under the old system. I couldn't remember off the top of my head, but of course he wasn't racing under the old system, but it sort of is what it is. Dirty Def, I found a level of respect for Dale Earnhardt after hating him for years. I can remember when I started hating him, he wrecked Jeff Bodine at the 86 Busch Clash. I disliked him for the rest of his career, says Dirty Def. There you go. That'll do it. Don't forget David Pearson, says Delmer Kaufman. Yeah, for sure. David Pearson's definitely on that list of people you got to talk about. No doubt about it. People should understand now that Corey LaJoie did all he could in that crap 7 Spire car, says Mark 63. Yeah, I'm with you. I think the 7 car is just way off compared to the other Spire cars, no doubt about it. David Pearson is greater than Richard Petty, ifs and buts and all that, but as far as titles goes, but heads up, Pearson ran better than Petty, says John Carpenter. Yep, and you can argue that all the way down the line. There's a great book called Pearson versus Petty, or Petty versus Pearson. Check that out. If you want to there, John Carpenter. David Pearson winning percentage is on another stratosphere, and he won a championship every season he ran a full-time schedule, I think, besides one, says Dirty Def. Indeed. David Pearson was not one to toy with. He was as good as they come. Always appreciate your passion and knowledge of the sport, says Brian Carson. Thank you, man. I appreciate you for tuning in and giving your takes as well, my dude. Dirty Def, Larry Mack and said Ernie Irvan was the most talented driver he's ever worked with. Larry Mack, that's cap, brother, because you worked with Davey Allison and Dale Earnhardt Sr. Ernie Irvan was good, but he was not that good. I like that Larry Mack was trying to give him his flowers there, but I'm calling cap on that. I know we'll never know, but I think if he doesn't get hurt, he's winning the championship at some point. He certainly had the talent to win a championship, but you just never know. Like that's the crazy thing about racing, man. Guys take licks like that, and then unfortunately he lost his eye, so he never had that depth perception anymore. So yeah, tough one for sure. But yeah, he was certainly a talent for real. But I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I put him in front of Davey Allison or Dale Sr. as far as guys that Larry McReynolds worked with. I'll put him right there with Ricky Rudd, though. I'll certainly put him right there with Ricky Rudd. The thing about probably pretty close talent wise, I still would give the nod to Ricky Rudd there. But that's Larry Mack's opinion. He is more than welcome to have it. The thing about the King and the Silver Fox, they knew how who they had to beat. They were friends on and off the track. Indeed. They had some great back and forths when they would interview together in their later years before Pearson left us there. I think you will agree with me, BB. I don't think KFB is washed, but he's definitely pressing and making. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Not all RCR. Yeah, I think he's just pushing too hard. He's pushing too hard, and that's part of the problem. I think instead of just taking the 10th place, he's trying to get a win out of it sometimes. So it is what it is. It's hard. It's hard to say not to do that too. Absolutely agree. Dirty Def says Shaw. I've been saying that for a while, says Shaw. Josh Benton, KB is trying to do more than the car is capable of producing, says Josh. Yep, that's part of it. He's trying to get a win out of a 10th place car. And if he just take the 10th place, he'd probably be in that top 16. I think Zilisch will be great, but I think it will take him some time to adjust to the Cup car. I agree with you 100%. He was complaining about it this week on Door Bumper Clear. You notice he hasn't qualified like he does in Xfinity. I agree with that a lot. Last weekend, car was fine. KFB was pushing at the wrong time. Again, says Shaw. Trackhouse has a new video from Red Bull hangar tent. Zilisch told Max Verstappen to hop in and try his Cup car, and Max straight up replied that he really wants to. Max to NASCAR confirmed, says John Carpenter. I would love to see Max Verstappen drive a Cup Series car. Would love to see it. Even if it's just like what Lewis Hamilton did with Tony Stewart, I would love to see him jump in one. Big Max Verstappen fan. I'm a Ferrari man, but I do like I like Max Verstappen's talent for sure. In your opinion, what's more impressive, Petty's 199 wins or KFB's over 200 wins in all three series? I think they're both impressive, 100%. 200 wins in the Cup Series is certainly the more impressive feat. More impressive feat for sure. Kurt Busch was a villain in his early days, says Dummer Kaufman. Indeed. My bad, BB. I'm just asking how SVG and Herbst would compare. I just thought it's an interesting question. If SVG had been better, been horrible look for Herbst. Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, I haven't looked at them head-to-head as far as that goes. But, yeah, SVG, Rookie of the Year. Like, it's not even close. Shout out to Brett Griffin, says In Between the Lanes. Indeed. Shout out to Brett Griffin. Annoying and never wins. Are you describing Sheldon Creed? Says one wise guy. So one wise guy getting a Sheldon Creed shot in there. Mr. Excitement is NASCAR's Starscream. Excellent comparison there, says John Carpenter. Indeed. Do you think Rick Ware Racing will be in Cup next year? Yeah. Oh, yeah. For 100% they'll be in Cup next year. And if not, do you see someone like Penske or Gibbs trying to get Cody Ware? You know what? I think Cody Ware on Earth 2 is an absolute legend, but I think Cody Ware is washed as far as it comes to getting a Cup ride that's not owned by his dad. Cody Ware kind of sucks, says Shy. It's a joke, says OJ. The greatest NASCAR villain of all time is Rain, says Lovey Barkley. For sure. Agree with you there. You had me worried, says Shy. Just remember, Brett Griffin started up the I Don't Give a Crap tour, says In Between the Lanes. Indeed, Brett Griffin was a notable shirt salesman when with his time at DBC. Here is the merch link there from one wise guy. Who's tougher then and now in NASCAR, the Iceman or the Iron Man? Says Sir Wood Rooster. So there you go. That's a great question. Let's see. BB, I am not Terry Labonte versus Ricky Rudd though. Is what he's referring to. BB, I'm not in my cups very far. If you read the comment right, it wouldn't sound. I wouldn't sound like a total drunk. But man, whatever, says Shah. Who would you rather, Haley or Corey? Who would you rather have, Justin Haley or Corey LaJoie? Scratch. I think they're both about the same. OJ and toothpaste. I was not one of those people that was happy about the Patriots won when they won their first Super Bowl. I hated them, but I am a Colts fan, says OJ and toothpaste. Corey Haim, 100%. I think he was talking about Corey LaJoie, OJ. If you look at or if he was talking about Corey Haim, obviously Corey Haim. Let's see. If you look at Kyle Petty's career, he's always drove for startup teams. Left Richard Petty Enterprises. Kyle was running the show, then went to the Woods, but never had run a full season. Says Delmer Kaufman. People forget that Winston being the big champions bonus didn't start until the late 70s, and it wasn't worth running the full schedule for some of them before that. Says Bruce Carvey. Yeah. Pretty much, that's 100% accurate. It wasn't a big deal until the 70s when they started getting some real money for winning the championship. Why don't drivers jump manufacturers anymore, says one wise guy? Because you have to, usually they're signed to a manufacturer, and to jump manufacturers, there's a buyout clause. And so that adds even more money if they're trying to jump. And, money is at a scarcity these days. But for a good enough talent, they will pay the buyout clause. Larry said Ernie could jump in a car and make the car go faster without complaining about the setup. He said Davey was his best friend, but he had to work at it more. Worked with Earnhardt late in his career, says Dirty Def. That's cool. I mean, he's allowed to have his opinion, but his opinion is wrong because it disagrees with my opinion. Let's see, and that's a joke, by the way. Ty Gibbs got into a argument with Chris Gabehart. LOL, says OJ and toothpaste. And clearly, Chris Gabehart was in the wrong because it's teasy. Let's see. Max Verstappen in a Project 91 car would be awesome at COTA or Watkins Glen. Oh, yeah, anywhere, for sure. Any of the road courses, 100%. What are we talking about here, says Krusty. When do you think Ty Gibbs will get his first win? Probably either at Martinsville or a road course would be my guess. Unless, super speedway is always an option too, but road course or Martinsville would be my pick. Rest in peace to Robbie Brewer, says Krusty. Indeed. SOS Krusty. Rest in peace, RB, says Krusty. Let's see. I think Zilisch should be in the 88 next year and SVG in his favorite number 97, but that won't happen, says OJ and Toothpaste. Richard should have 201 wins. One was given to Bobby Allison, says Delmer Kaufman. There you go. Let's see here. Do we add Tommy Baldwin to the I Don't Give a Crap tour? Oh, Tommy Baldwin's always on the Don't Give a Crap tour. He doesn't care. Did you watch the NASCAR put out that showed all of the did you watch the video NASCAR put out that showed all of the passes SVG made from his in-car camera? Really fun to watch. I haven't seen that one yet. NFC West is going to be rough this season, says one wise guy. 49ers are going to dominate it. Everybody knows that. It's well-established facts. So just sit back and hopefully your Seahawks can get second. Hopefully you guys can get second because it's at least 3 wins behind us is probably how it's going to shake up. I'm just messing with you, wise guy. I don't know if Max Racing Cup, says Joseph Wooten. Yeah, we'll see. Will Max be at Red Bull in next season? That's another question. Yes, I did. Dirty Def, says OJ and Toothpaste. Krusty saying Niners going to the Super Bowl. Hey, let's go, Krusty. I'm with you on that one. The Chicago one is cool to watch, says OJ and Toothpaste. Keselowski, you're running to Hocevar was like watching Clint Boyer at Phoenix. Hey, there you go. Keselowski getting active with old Josephus making friends. Saints versus Browns, Super Bowl 2026. OJ picking the Super Bowl already. Browns with Shedeur Sanders at quarterback going to the Super Bowl immediately. Lock it in, says OJ. 49ers win the NFC West 12-5, says a 12-5 season, says Joseph Wooten. Hey, I'm down with that. Let's go. Thoughts on Ty Gibbs' current situation? He has 2 crew chiefs and he's arguing with both of them, says Dirty Death. For sure. So add crew chief number 3. It's going to be a triple threat match, and Ty Gibbs is going to be on Ty Gibbs' side, and the rest of them, will be over there. And they're still going to lose because Teasy, he can throw those. I don't know if you've seen, but he can throw those hands. And he said he doesn't even need the helmet to fight a crew chief. Hamlin or the field on Sunday? I say Hamlin. One wise guy at Richmond. Oh, that's a good question. Let's jump over here and look at the stats. Kevin Harvick not in the race, but he's one of them there. Best odds, I would say, to beat young Dennis James Allen Hamlin is probably going to be Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, or Christopher Bell. Don't sleep on Chase Elliott or William Byron, though. If Kyle Larson can snap out of his slump. Kyle Larson's been in a slump for quite some time now. A slump for Kyle Larson. Let's keep it real. Let's see. And a lot of it's been mechanical failures too, and some of it's been poor decision making. So not all him, but some of it was definitely him for sure. Let's see. But I'm taking the field. I'm taking the field over Hamlin there, one wise guy, to answer your question. Just thinking F1 break is usually around Watkins Glen. Let's make the Cup race happen, says Bruce Garvey. Hey, there you go. That would be something for sure. Yeah, Max, let's go. Get Verstappen in the Cup Series. Yes, sir, Joe, says Krusty. I want to see Jalen Milroe start for the Seahawks, says OJ and Toothpaste. Gibbsy is losing his mind. No way he will win with that mentality. Now that said, watch him win next weekend, says Shot. Hey, for sure. Look, he's hell on a short track, man. So never count out Ty Gibbs on a short track. Max just signed with Sergio. Max just signed along with Sergio Perez to Cadillac, says Clean Clothes. So, hey, there you go. There you go. According to Clean Clothes, Max going to Cadillac. Bills for the win. I'm a F1 casual, so I am not up to speed with that. But I'll go with you. Clean Clo dropping the news for us. Bills for the win, says Josh Benton. Bills are actually, if you watch the channel long enough, the Bills are actually my second favorite team. So San Fran or the Bills, I'm good either way there. Approved the overhead shade setup probably next season. It'll be complete, says one wise guy. Panthers win the Super Bowl in 2055, says Delmer Kaufman. They improved a lot last year, so I wouldn't count them out to make a deep playoff run this year if they can keep the momentum up. Got some good wide receivers, according to all the stuff I've been seeing. Calgary Stampede fantasy football just around the corner. Get your fantasy rosters. Get your, the preseason fake drafts. Get as many of them in as you can. Calgary Stampeders for the win, says Shaw. Maybe Ty gets us, but Ty doesn't get his crew chief, says John Carpenter. Ty said his crew chief can get these hands. That's what Ty said. Ryan Priest, dark horse for Richmond, says OJ and Toothpaste. OJ, what are you smoking? The Browns will have a top 5 draft pick in 2026. Martin Truex Jr. was good at Richmond, so Briscoe will be good at Richmond as well, says Dirty Def. CFL champs and NFL. You're right about Martin Truex Jr. being good. So yeah, Disco Briscoe, look out for him at Richmond as well. CFL champs and NFL champs could play 2 games, 1 USA rules, 1 field, and 1 Canada rules and field rules, says Shy. Indeed. Sorry, everyone. It is the Ravens year, says like dislike. So like dislike going with the Ravens. Terrell Suggs in a little bit of hot water there. Former Ravens player Terrell Suggs at the Starbucks, flashing the blicky because he backed up into a guy in the drive-through line. He got taken to the local adult timeout, and yeah, so there you go. And I call it that because the YouTubes doesn't like the actual word. Everybody complains, how come you call it adult timeout? Everybody's got to be serious all the time. That's why I call it adult timeout. YouTube doesn't like the other word. Let's see. CFL champs and NFL champs should play 2 games, 1 USA rules and field and 1 Canada rules and field. Sorry, everyone. It's the Ravens year. Wonder what Ty will say if the coach, a.k.a. Grandpa, was saying that his crew chiefs were saying, oh, there you go. What if it becomes a 2 versus 3 match and he calls in, he calls in the ringer there. He calls in Grandpa into the match. And they just do the all NWO and they fall down and kiss the ring. There you go. He's going to tell Grandpa and everybody's going to get in trouble. Earth 2 Super Bowl, Joseph Wooten, says OJ and Toothpaste. Let's see. My bad. I meant Max re-signed with Red Bull. I got you. And Sergio went to Cadillac. So there you go. There you go. Appreciate you there, Clean Clo, for cleaning that up. As a Bama fan, be careful what you wish for. Milroe and the Seahawks, says Dirty Def. Are you bummed you didn't go to the Speedway Classic baseball game at Bristol, says OJ and Toothpaste. I like a good crap show, so I actually am bummed I didn't go to it. I would have stayed for both days. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't eat hot dogs anyway, so that wouldn't have bothered me. Like, oh no, they ran out of something I'm not going to eat to begin with. Mystery meat in the form of a glizzy. I'm not eating them. Sorry. It is what it is. Shout out to Mayetta, New Jersey legend, Martin Truex Jr. III, says in between the lanes. Indeed. Timeout sucks, says one wise guy. It does. Indeed. Jesus forgives you of your sins. The state of California, not so lenient, one wise guy, unfortunately. Although they are apparently lenient, just not that lenient to wise guy. Apparently, Bubba Wallace got a call from Joe Gibbs after he won Indy. Hey, that's cool. Class move from Joe Gibbs there. Is Buffalo Wild Wings still the best wings in town? Were they ever the best wings in town is the real question. No, baby, ain't raw dog and glizzies without buns, says John Carpenter. Indeed. Depends on the weather. It says one wise guy says depends on the weather for sure. Okay, I got you. All right. We didn't do a head-to-head, but final results of this poll question: next gen car creator 54%, and I'm gonna just take a wild guess at this and say next gen car creator is gonna beat Austin Hill, even though we didn't run an official poll. If you want to, next live stream we'll run an official poll if you want to go head-to-head. But I think we can pretty much all agree that the next gen car creator would have smoked Austin Hill as biggest villain. But I will run that as the poll next time. But that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate y'all hanging out. Until the next one, y'all take them easy. Delmer Kaufman, I've had Martinsville hot dogs before. They're the most overrated thing on earth. But yes, I've had them. They're not that good. People will continue to pump them up. If you are a defender of the Martinsville hot dog, Iceberg has got your back. He loves the Martinsville hot dog. All right. That's all I got for you on this one. Appreciate y'all hanging out. It was fun, as always. Peace.